As the day wore on, the girl's condition became impossible to ignore. Pain came in waves, steady and unrelenting, signaling that time was running out. The storm returned with renewed force, sealing them in, cutting off easy escape. Evelyn realized then that this moment, this isolated house, this raging weather, this fragile life, was no longer just about choice. It was about consequence. The world beyond Juniper Hill had already made its judgment. Whatever happened next would bind these two lives together, whether they were ready or not. And as the wind screamed outside once more, Evelyn understood that the real storm was no longer the one battering the house, but the one about to break through the fragile barriers of safety she had built, demanding action that could not be undone. The pain arrived without warning, sharp and relentless, cutting through the fragile calm like glass. The girl's body tightened, breath hitching, fear flashing across her face as the truth became unavoidable. This was happening now. Not later, not somewhere safer, not with help on the way. The storm outside roared in answer, wind slamming against the walls as if the world itself was daring them to survive. Evelyn moved on instinct, not hesitation. Years of experience earned, not praised, rose to the surface. She had seen moments like this before when systems failed and lives were left in the hands of those society overlooked. The power flickered again, then vanished. Darkness swallowed the house. No phone signal, no ambulance, no authority coming to help. Just an elderly black woman and a frightened pregnant girl the world had already abandoned. The girl cried out, not just in pain, but in terror, the kind born from knowing how easily people like her were judged, blamed, and ignored. Evelyn felt the weight of that fear press into her chest. She knew the headlines that would never be written if this went wrong, the accusations that would come if it went right. She knew how quickly compassion turned into suspicion when wrapped in black skin. Outside, the storm reached its peak. Inside, so did the moment. Evelyn worked through exhaustion, through pain in her own joints, through the quiet knowledge that no one would rush in to save them. Every breath mattered. Every second stretched thin. The girl's strength wavered, her body shaking, her hope flickering. And in that moment, when it seemed the storm might win, something broke open. A cry cut through the darkness, small, fierce, alive. For a heartbeat, time stopped. The storm howled on, but inside the room there was only breath and disbelief. Life had forced its way into a world that hadn't made room for it. Hope had arrived where it was never expected. Evelyn held that moment carefully, knowing this was not the end, but the beginning of a reckoning. Because when the storm passed and the world returned, it would demand explanations, judgments, and consequences. And the question remained, would that world see a miracle or find a way to punish the people who made it possible? When the storm finally loosened its grip, the world outside looked calm, almost innocent. Snow rested quietly on the trees, the road, the rooftops, erasing all evidence of the chaos that had nearly taken two lives. Inside the small house, something had changed. Not just the air, but the meaning of it. What began as a moment of mercy had become an act of defiance against a system that so often decides who is worth saving. The girl survived. Her child survived. And Evelyn survived too, not just the night, but the weight of what it meant. She had done what the world often refuses to do. She stopped, she cared, and she stayed. No cameras recorded it. No headlines praised it. But lives were altered forever because one black woman chose humanity over fear. In the days that followed, reality returned with its familiar questions and judgments. There were forms to fill, explanations to give, assumptions to endure. But there was also something else, strength. The kind that grows when compassion proves stronger than neglect. The kind that reminds us that justice does not always arrive through institutions, but sometimes through ordinary people willing to act when others look away. This story is not rare. It only feels that way because so many like it go unseen. Across cities, towns, and quiet roads, racial injustice continues not only through harm, but through indifference. Through the moments when help is withheld because of who someone is, how they look, or what society assumes about them. And yet this story asks something more of us. It asks what happens when we refuse to accept that cruelty as normal, when we interrupt it with courage, when we choose to see the humanity in front of us, even when the world tells us not to. Because change does not begin with systems, it begins with choices. The choice to stop, the choice to care, the choice to stand in the storm for someone else. So the question remains, when you encounter injustice, will you keep driving, or will you be the reason someone survives to see another morning?